And we're live. Hello and welcome to the Football Podcast for Saturday, the 31st of October. Yes, it is Halloween. I am joined as always by certain Adam Galat to discuss the hottest stories surrounding the footballing world.
Hello, Theo. It is a pleasure to be here as always. And without further ado, let us commence this podcast.
Indeed, in today's edition of the Football Podcast, we will be covering Premier League results along with some standout Champions League results and some hot topics.
But before we continue, as always, if you're enjoying our content, we would really appreciate a like, subscribe, and if you could turn on the notification bell for your sake so you know every time we post, it would be great. But I will take us onto the Premier League results so far that have happened in match day 7. As we speak, so far, Wolves have defeated Crystal Palace 2-0 at Molineux. Sheffield United lost at home by 1-0 to Man City. Burnley's had a similar fate, except by a greater margin. They lost 3-0 to Chelsea at home. And currently, as it stands, Liverpool would be losing their unbeaten streak at Anfield as they trail 1-0 to West Ham in the 16th minute, as we speak. What do you think of these scores, Theo?
Wolves consistent at ever at Molineux. So they're always super, super good. Stand-up performer, I think they're definitely, obviously, the debutant, Ait Nuri, and then obviously I think Semedo actually really impressed in that game, showing some great confidence in there, coming out from the back, and a really good performance from him, and he's showing that he's settling in pretty quickly, as well as Ait Nuri on his debut, getting the opener, and then Podence scoring. They're showing that they can do it without Diogo Jota, so there you have it. And then we have Sheffield United, pretty passive defeat to Man City. I think Man City didn't really try too much, but there was a lot of very open game, but neither side really penetrated those very obvious openings. I watched the game. Very, very interesting how open it was at Bramall Lane, but no side was really going for it. Sheffield United could have capitalized on the fact that Man City weren't taking their chances. De Bruyne back in the Man City squad. Big news. Really big boost for Man City that he's back after injury that saw him out for a few weeks, and we saw probably the best team for probably the best player for both Man City and Liverpool respectively out. Van Dijk and De Bruyne. Obviously, Van Dijk is going to be out for a lot longer than De Bruyne, and De Bruyne is back, so that's really big for Man City. Burnley lost at home to Chelsea. Hakim Ziyech becomes the second ever Chelsea player to score in 2 consecutive Premier League starts since his move from Ajax, since Diego Costa. Obviously, both of them. One is a striker, the other not so much, but pretty soft goal he scored at Turf Moor. Nick Pope, I think unsighted by the looks of it, but could have done a lot better in that respect. And then a goal from Timo Werner as well in there, and Kurt Zouma, who's actually Chelsea's joint top scorer this season in the Premier League, interestingly, tied with Jorginho from his goals from the penalty spots. And then we obviously have Liverpool losing at home to West Ham. Real collector's item for you there. We're expecting them to come back into the game. We'll tell you if there's a goal. Either way, we'll both get notifications. So, yeah, Liverpool, West Ham. Goal from Fornals, I believe, Adam. Liverpool not doing too well.
Yep, you're correct. The description of the goal here is West Ham have taken the lead at Anfield. They built up on the left after Fornals laid it off to Masuku, who held up the play before delivering a cross into the penalty area. The initial threat was headed away by Joe Gomez, but only as far as Fornals, who continued his run all the way to the edge of the 18-yard box. From there, he side-footed it into the bottom corner. So yeah, that was the description we've had of the goal. Neither of us are following it, watching the game, but we are currently keeping a close tab on our sources to make sure if any updates do occur, you will know. But that takes us on to the Champions League, where there were some standout performances from teams outside of the Premier League that we did select. So on Tuesday, we had a really, really great game between Atletico Madrid and RB Salzburg, where João Felix was definitely man of the match. 2 goals, could have been 3 with a bicycle kick that he nearly scored. Salzburg, well, but not well enough to be they were quite frankly outclassed by strong Atletico Madrid. Then again, must say another case of quite an outclassing by, I think this was a greater margin. They lost 3-0 to just a better Man City, frankly. Liverpool beat Midtjylland 2-0. They did put up a good fight, Midtjylland. They had a couple of good chances, but Diogo Jota, who's proving to be a great signing, scored, as did Mohamed Salah. Do you want to take the rest from here, Theo?
Sure, without further ado, Krasnodar, at home in Russia. Chelsea would probably be pretty grateful that this game didn't occur later on in the year, in the depths of winter. Could have been a lot colder, northern Russia, so that would have been quite a cold game. But they'll be thankful that it happened just a few days ago in mid-October. So, and they won 4-0. 2 penalties actually for Chelsea. Jorginho missed the first, and Werner took the second after he was subbed off. In the absence of him, he took it and scored. Jorginho is beginning to miss penalties as a Chelsea player, and questions have been raised of whether Werner or any other person is going to be taking those penalties. Obviously, Jorginho didn't start today against Burnley, so who would have taken the penalty? I presume Werner, if a penalty was awarded in the favor of Chelsea at Turf Moor. So they won 4-0. Ziyech getting his first start and probably man of the match, I think. Got a goal as well. Christian Pulisic got his first of the season in the 90th minute, adding gloss to a 4-0 performance. Barcelona, Juve, this was the biggest game of all. We had Juve, Barcelona, very open game from the very start, end to end, very exciting. Ousmane Dembele, who been pretty subpar in recent games, and recently, really generally. He got a goal, deflection, nothing Szczesny could have done about it. 1-0 Barca, and I'm not sure who scored the second because I watched the first half, I didn't get to see the second half.
It was Lionel Messi from the penalty spot.
Lionel Messi from the penalty spot. Yeah, don't know too much about that one, but must have been a pretty good penalty. Lionel Messi, as ever in the Champions League, scoring as he always does, picking up some form, and Barcelona are going to need it because they are on a slight rough patch in La Liga, so they're going to need to pick up some form pretty quickly if they're going to catch up Real Madrid, who won recently 4-1, and Eden Hazard getting his second goal in a Real Madrid shirt today. So pretty exciting stuff in La Liga, as well as Barcelona getting that win over Juventus, and Man United final game we're talking about here won 5-0 over RB Leipzig at home. RB Leipzig really are missing Chelsea player Timo Werner. Star performance from Marcus Rashford. Not only did he win an MB, he also scored a hat-trick against RB Leipzig. Really is looking like a very, very good player. Not going to say one of the best in the world, but definitely a very top-class player. One of the best at Man United, I think, if not the best at Man United. Homegrown talent. I remember actually in 2016, I want to say, they brought him in for the Manchester Derby, and he scored. And then he started hitting this this giant purple patch where he just started starting games and scoring, and now he's a starter 4 years later, and he is a fantastic player, I must say, and a hat trick against RB Leipzig just adds to the points. We will continue if Adam any other points before we move on.
None from me. But we are creating a new section while the transfer while there is not much transfer news going on, called our hot topics. We will have a couple per week or per podcast that we want to discuss. And I'll take the first game, the first point. You can analyze that, and then I think we'll switch around, Theo.
Yeah.
But Edouard Mendy, the new signing, has kept 100% save percentage in Champions League and Premier League. I believe he said 3 Premier League games and 1 Champions League game, I want to say. I may be wrong. But so, yeah, he hasn't conceded a single goal, which is really, really great. I'm sure Chelsea will be happy about that. In Kepa's most memorable recent game, I think it was his most recent start, he conceded 3 goals with one quite appalling mistake. And it wasn't great for him that day. And so Edouard Mendy has really taken it upon himself to steal that starting position and in the future, I think, could grab the number 1 shot. Hopefully for him and for Chelsea, things continue as they do. Anything you want to add on, Theo, before we move on?
Yeah, he's actually played 2 Champions League games, Sevilla and Krasnodar. 0-0 Sevilla, 4-0 Krasnodar. I think 3 Premier League games, maybe 4. I'm not sure at the moment, but we can get you that later. But yeah, he's been really, really good since he's arrived. I think there's this aura about him, in my opinion, that just kind of encourages confidence in that back line. I think it's making Zuma a better player, as well as Thiago Silva in that back line, helping Zuma as well. I think Zuma is really developing because of those two. So I think really well done to Mendy. He's come in, taking that number 1 shirt, and he's really playing as if, I think, similar to a lot of Chelsea players. I think Ziyech, Chilwell, Mendy, I think they've all really come in, Werner, and it looks like they've been there for 5 years. It looks like they've been there for a while, and they know everybody, and they're gelling together really well. Chelsea looking really good at the moment, and Mendy in particular, between the sticks.
Sorry to interrupt Theo, but yeah, he's played for 3 games, I believe. I just double checked.
Right. Okay. So last 5 games, in a Chelsea shirt, apart from the 1 game where he has conceded, which was against Tottenham, which wasn't his fault. It was Emerson's fault. No Ben Chilwell in that game. Ben Chilwell did start, but halfway through the second half, he was subbed off, and Emerson failing to track back. Eric Lamela finishing. So I guess with those kind of goals, I guess it's just always the Chelsea left back that isn't Ben Chilwell. In that case, just proves the point. Case study and example where Chelsea, their left back's really not coming on trumps, especially when their name isn't Ben Chilwell. But yeah, there you have it. We're gonna move on. If any other extra thoughts from you, Adam?
No, go for it, Theo. Take it away.
Yeah. So then our second one is actually about Felix. We mentioned him earlier. About how well he performed the other day against Salzburg. He got his first goal in the second half, and he got the winner as well. Played a really good game. Let's see, was he man of the match? He was man of the match. Got a 9.4 rating. Wow. Man of the match performance double, playing alongside Luis Suarez. I think that's going to be very, very good for him when it comes to his development. That's a really good mentor to have alongside you, similar to what we were talking about with Zuma and Thiago Silva. Suarez, full of experience, such talent. And then João Felix, who is also got a lot of talent, a lot of room for growth. And he's really proving it there with that double against RB Salzburg, and he's silencing some recent critics. I guess with his lack of consistency and his lack of penetration recently. Adam.
Yeah. I think that unfortunately many critics just watch Champions League games and take all their information off there and base all their opinions off the Champions League games. And unfortunately for João Felix, he likes to have freedom. With in Benfica, he had a lot of freedom in the attack, which is why he was so effective. But in the Champions League recently, he's been quite constrained. Not much freedom. He's more of a centre forward instead of an all-out striker. And so when he took up that role, he was really scintillating. But what I was saying about the Champions League is if you follow many La Liga games, you see he's actually been great and very consistent in La Liga as well. So yeah, it's good to see him also establishing himself in big games, not just small games against pretty small and not very competitive Spanish teams. But unless you have anything to add, I think that's the end of our podcast, Theo.
Yeah, no other further thoughts from me, Adam. Yeah, that would conclude our podcasts. Please add some comments down below if you want to say anything about our hot topics and whether you agree with what we've said so far as regards to Mendy and João Felix, what you think of them, what you think of their performance so far this season. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the post notification bell so you are notified when we create a new video. So yeah, Adam, any further thoughts?
Nope, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Theo, I presume.
Bye bye, guys. Thank you.